Greetings everyone, it's IT2. As you can see, my camera is crooked because it's been broken for a long time. Now that it's Cyber Monday, I'm going to buy like a tablet, maybe a microphone, maybe like one of those things you clean earwax out with a camera. Get a bunch of crap. But I might get a camera too, because this one's pretty old. Anyway, I'm finished Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, and oh my god, this book doesn't deserve, it should not be as good as it is. It's a 5-star. It's one of my new favorite books. Probably not book of the year because I've read like 80 something books this year that I can think that maybe something better, but some people don't like it because it's similar to The Martian, even though like a lot of people love The Martian. It's like a similar situation where there's one main character loaded with science stuff. So I wouldn't recommend this book to people like my mom that aren't like super hyper intelligent or into like sciencey stuff. But like if you're into that kind of thing, it's good. But also the character, it made me realize how important characters are to stories. And I read a 1-star review of this book that somebody thought it didn't have any good characters in it because it's just Mark Watney over, and all the characters are similar to Mark Watney from The Martian. I don't know. Like, I had no idea. Nobody told me that this book is also like a first contact alien story, which I love those kind of deals when you first, like humans first meet an alien race. Because it starts out, this guy's like, he wakes up on a spaceship near Tau Ceti, a star. It's not, is it light years away? Yeah, like 13 light years away from us, I think, right? And he has amnesia. He doesn't know who he is or anything for a while. It starts coming back to him slowly, and he realizes he's on a mission to save Earth. Because what happened was, there was this bacteria that evolved on Venus, or it traveled to our solar system. And it can live on the sun. And it's like super hard to kill. You can poke it with a needle and kill it, but otherwise they don't know any way to kill it because it's like it survives supreme like high and cold temperatures. They can live on the sun. They can live in toxic environments because it migrates to Venus because Venus has a lot of carbon dioxide. So what it needs to breed is carbon dioxide. So it looks for the signal. It can see carbon dioxide and it travels to it with light as a propulsion system. It shoots out because it stores energy like crazy. It's like going to like revolutionize the whole energy of Earth if we can live long enough. But what happens is there's so much of it, it's darkening the sun. It's like eating the energy from the sun. So they could call it astrophage because it's eating starlight. So it goes back and forth between Venus and the sun. Venus, it breeds, it doubles in population, it goes back to the sun, gets energy from the sun, it shoots back to Venus, breeds again, goes back to the sun. Keeps getting more bacteria on the sun, keeps like covering it up, making it dimmer and dimmer. So Earth has about 30 years or something before it freezes, and like half the population is going to die, even if the mission is successful. So it keeps alternating chapters between like him having a flashback to a memory of like getting Project Hail Mary going and like recruiting the top best scientists and like getting everybody trained, figuring out what's going on. He's like a school teacher actually, but I don't know how it started out, like how he got involved from the beginning of it. He wrote a paper about like how life doesn't need water to evolve or to live or something like that. Yeah, that's how it was, and then the government got him involved. Anyway, it's really good. But the main thing that makes it good is when he meets this alien. Because he's out there in Tau Ceti, in the middle of nowhere. And he's like, holy shit, there's another ship out here. And then, like, there's an alien ship. I'm about to meet aliens for the first time. He, like, starts waving at it. And there's a robot arm on the outside of the ship, and it waves back and, like, gives him a thumbs up, and they're, like, communicating. And you kind of have to suspend your disbelief a little bit because when he meets the alien, it's like a spider, like a pentagonally symmetrical 5-armed spider. So I guess it walks with its arms, but they're in zero gravity for a lot of it. So he just kind of like hangs on with one arm. He's got 4 other arms he can like do stuff with. He's super heavy. He weighs like 600 pounds of normal gravity, There's one part where he has to lift him up, but he's in like a third gravity, so he only weighs like 200 pounds. So they're really fucking heavy. He has like a rocky carapace, and he's only like maybe 5-10% biological material. Most of the alien is made up of like metal and rocks, and his blood is made out of mercury. And they've invented this thing called xenonite. So xenon is like a noble gas that doesn't interact with certain things. So like we never see it as a solid or something like that. But they figured out a way to like take two liquids and make like a two-part epoxy kind of a thing, and it forms xenonite in different formations. And one of them you can make it translucent, so you can make like clear xenonite, and it's like stronger than steel. So they can like pretty much make impenetrable boxes and like spaceships and stuff out of this xenonite thing. So you also have to suspend your disbelief a little bit, because the way he figures out his language so fast, it's not very believable. Because they speak with like musical chords. So like letters are like maybe 3 different notes for like a quarter note, a half note, or a whole note, or whatever like that. So it's like... So he figures out a few words, and then he puts it into a spreadsheet, and he memorizes those, and then he rigs up a computer program to like kind of remind him what stuff reads. And then at that point, it's kind of like they just spend a few months learning each other's language. So then the alien can just start talking to him. So you're reading the English version of him talking. So he's not actually saying those words in English, I don't think. I think he's just saying the musical notes, but the scientist has figured out what he's saying, or the spreadsheet's telling him, or something. Because a lot of this conversation happens like in really fast situations where they wouldn't be able to like, wait, what did you mean when you said this word? These notes mean this. They wouldn't even have time to like figure all that out. So you kind of got to suspend your disbelief a little bit. So, and then also they're blind. The aliens are completely blind. Like they don't even have a concept of sight. They don't know that you can see light. They've never heard of such a thing. But they've built a spaceship and they flew out to this star. Like, they have the same problem on their planet that the astrophage is eating their sun, too. So they're trying to figure out the same problem that we're doing. So we both ended up at Tau Ceti because Tau Ceti doesn't have an astrophage problem. They have astrophage, but they don't have... The sun's not dimming. So they try to figure out why. What's so special about Tau Ceti? So they both ended up in the same solar system. They start talking to each other, and then they build like a tube, because the alien has to live in an argon environment, right? Or nitrogen, argon. Is it argon? Some kind of like poisonous gas. Humans can't be in the same room with them pretty much for very long. So there was like 23 aliens on this ship, and all of them died except this one guy, Rocky. He names him because he has a rocky carapace, and he names the planet. He lets the alien name it. And he says, "Well, I want to name it after my mate." And it's just like musical tone, so he doesn't have a word for that. So he names it Adrian because Rocky Balboa's wife was named Adrian. Pretty sweet. I'm going to spoil a lot of stuff, by the way, because I have to talk about how cool this book is. So then you get into... I started making questions about the alien. I started thinking about... Like, they didn't have any concept of relativism or radiation because they don't see light. They don't know about radiation. So, like... 22 of his friends died because he was down in the engine room surrounded by this astrophage, kept the radiation off of him. Everybody else died from radiation, and he didn't know what radiation was, so he had no idea why his friends died. Which also, like, how did they even know where Tau Ceti was? They can't see stars, so they're not like doing astronomy. They're basically super good at hearing things, like higher and lower ranges than we can hear, different frequencies. They can hear pretty much everything. Almost to the point, they're like Daredevil from the comic books, where he can like see because he can hear so well. He can get like, but he doesn't see colors. So like everything they have is like gray and brown. Like they don't have any idea what it even has color. And they don't know about relativistic effects because they're not very like advanced in science as we are. Even though they got to the star first, and they're like super good at like making stuff like xenonite. So they're kind of advanced, but they're not like... They didn't figure out quantum physics and shit that we figured out. So, like... He got there way earlier, and he had all this extra fuel left. He didn't understand why. So then the human had to explain to him about relativity. It blew his mind and stuff, right? And he was also saying, what was it about, like, a hive mind? It started making me think about, like, colonies of bees. Oh, yeah, because his body, he's not actually... He is one organism, but it's like the different cells in his body are all individuals, sort of. Because they can repair his body when he goes into sleeping, and when he gets hurt, he kind of hibernates to, like, heal and stuff. But it's different from bees. Why is it different from bees? There was something in the book about how his body was kind of like a beehive, sort of, without a queen or something. But it's also like the Vern Revenge book where not Deepness in the Sky, the first one, Dark Upon the Deep, something like that, where you have like these packs of wolves that all have a hive mind. It's really interesting when you do hive minds with aliens. But this one was kind of different because it's like the cells are individual, but not, they don't individually think. But then when at the end of the book you find out when the aliens get together and they do like science and learning and stuff, they all like thrum, which is like this humming, singing a song, but they're like melding their consciousness together to make decisions or something like that. It was kind of weird. Anyway, how would you? It made me start thinking, like, how would you explain what color is to some? It's an alien that has no concept of sight, or I guess they have touch, right? And taste. Yeah, because he didn't have smell, and he told him like smelling is just tasting at range, which is kind of true. I mean, it's kind of weird. The aliens also, before the sun started going dim, they'd already like achieved space flight, but they only flew in orbit around their own planet. They built a space elevator, like a beanstalk type thing. You know, you climb up it to get to orbit, and then you just kind of float around in orbit. But if you can't see anything, why would you? Do they have like instrumentation? They don't have computers. That's what I can't understand. Like, how are they doing all this stuff? They have like an antenna on their spaceship. They do astronomy somehow, and they knew about the astrophage, the wavelength. The only reason we detected it is because it's on a certain wavelength. You can see the trail behind it. If they have no visual stimulus and they have no computers, how the fuck did they even know what was going on? All they would realize is like, oh, the planet's getting colder. They wouldn't be able to hear it. It doesn't make any sense. But I have to just forgive that because the interaction between the human and the alien, it's so goddamn cute. It's like having an animal that talks in a book, like Robin Hobb. Oh man, when you have animals that talk, you can like made me think like, man, I kind of want to meet aliens now. I feel like I'm kind of fed up with humans. I'm kind of sick of them. I kind of hope aliens come down and talk to me and like take me off this planet. But like, even if you don't meet aliens, if we could just talk to dogs, like if I could talk to my dog. She's like a little alien. I don't know what the fuck she's thinking. I have to guess. Or meeting like Haval, somebody from another country where everything's just completely fucking different. Talking to him is kind of like talking to an alien. But like, what were the questions if you met an alien? What would you ask him? Because you think about the Greys, like the Area 51 aliens. You don't think about like the planet they're from. Do they have other animals, like other not intelligent life, but like predators and prey and like animals they kill and eat, or what? Like, what do they eat? Like, do you have to eat? Do you have sex? Do you know if there's other aliens besides you out there? Have you met any others? That's a huge question. Like, what do you know? What do you have any concept of religion or gods? Do you have any kind of religious beliefs? Where do you think we all came from? What's the meaning of life? Like all these questions you get to ask an alien. Think about that. That'd be pretty fucking dope. Plus reproduction, like probably aliens don't have sex the same way we do, or maybe it's like plants, maybe they're like mushrooms, maybe they're like something totally fucking different, insects. Yeah, like this alien in the book, they have a ritual when they go to sleep. They have to watch each other because they evolved. They don't necessarily know when they're going to wake up. They can't really make themselves wake up, so they have their mate or somebody has to watch them sleep or they freak out. So like he's been there by himself for like 34 years. That's another thing. They live to be like 700 years. So he was there for like 34 years. He's like, I've been here for a while. It's not that long, though. He's like, 34 years? That's like half of my lifespan. He's like, what? You humans, you don't live very long and you leak water out of your body. Like, what? You're so weird. To us, they're weird. To them, we're weird. And they're just constantly like making fun of each other, too. They have like this buddy comedy thing going on. There's all this like chaos happening around them. They're figuring out the science of like, oh, we're at this planet that has astrophage. Why is it not duplicating? And they have this crazy thing where they like scoop the atmosphere of the planet and they almost die. But then they realize they found like a predator that preys on the astrophage, and they call it Tau amoeba, because Tau Ceti's the star, and it's like an amoeba they found that like prey on this astrophage, they kill it and eat it. So then they have to figure out a way to like make it survive the atmosphere of Venus and the atmosphere of Three World, which is the third world on the aliens' planet. It's where they go to breed. And each one has different nitrogen mix-ups, and like nitrogen kills them. So they have to like start evolving the Tau amoebas and make them nitrogen resistant. And what happens was they did that, but they didn't realize they were in these xenonite boxes, that they were tunneling into the metal and like surviving the nitrogen because they went through the metal, and they evolved to like pass through it. So then they start leaking, and they start eating their goddamn fuel, and they get into a bad situation where they thought they'd fixed the whole problem. And then Rocky's on his way back to his planet, and humans on the way back to Earth. And he's like, oh no, I figured out this problem. And then he fixes it. He gets like the nitrogen, because one of the astronauts there was 3 astronauts, the humans. 2 of them died. But like in one of the flashbacks, you find out they give them different options. They're on a suicide mission. So how do you want to die? And the Russian woman's like, I want to die from heroin. I want to like have that first crazy dose of heroin that everybody says is the best when you're chasing a dragon. And then I want to just like get a crazy overdose and die. The other guy wants a gun, the Chinese guy. And there was another guy that got scrubbed from the mission. He wanted to be like breathe the nitrogen until he died, because it's supposed to be like the most peaceful way to go. So he has like a gun and vodka and nitrogen on this spaceship, which is so convenient. So then he takes the nitrogen from the guy's death wish, and he uses it to kill the Tau amoebas and save the day, and like redo all his fuel tanks and all this other work. So all the book is like all this cool sciencey stuff. But then with the tunnel through the xenonite. So then he realizes Rocky's fucked. So he has to make a choice. Do I just keep going to Earth and forget about Rocky? But he's got these little like probes called the Beatles, John, Paul, Ringo, and George. So he sends those to Earth with all the information he's learned about Rocky and all the things he's learned about the astrophage. He's got like samples of the 82% nitrogen resistant Tau amoebas that are going to save Earth. Sends those to Earth, and he goes back to save Rocky, and that's when he gets good. And that's what the ending just blows you away. Like, he ends up saving Rocky, and he's so happy. He thought he was dead. He ends up going back to Rocky's planet and like living there the rest of his life, pretty much. But like, he had to like synthesize food, because none of the food they have is like, it's full of heavy metals and stuff. It would kill him. So he had to like clone his own meat from his muscle tissue and like make burgers out of his own meat to survive, like me burgers. So he's kind of like a cannibal, and he's living in this dome that's clear, but like their planet is completely dark because they don't see light. They never evolved to need light, and their planet that has no light. That seems kind of weird. Like, why do they care if the sun is bright enough when they don't have any light on their planet? They didn't explain that. Maybe they live on the dark side of a gravity-locked planet or something. I don't know. But then, like, he gets to teaching the aliens at the end, like a school teacher. He was a school teacher before, and now he's teaching them with a piano that he's playing music to them. That's pretty dope. He's eating his own meat burgers and playing piano to aliens. But then they find out that he actually saved Earth because the scientist aliens, they realized that the sun was getting brighter again, and they told him. Crazy ending. I just totally spoiled it and ruined it for you, but yeah, the thing, it makes you ask questions about aliens. Like, it seemed like all of these aliens, they all worked together, and they didn't seem to like. There was never a situation where he was wondering, like, this crazy alien spider, is it going to kill me or is it going to eat me? He was just like friendly from the start. Like, maybe they don't even have war on his planet. Like, that's a thing that could happen. That life could evolve without any kind of like like that movie, The Invention of Lying. Like maybe nobody learns how to lie. They don't learn like you should kill people to take their stuff. Maybe it just doesn't evolve that way, or they don't. I mean, they had a concept of predators though. So where do they get their meat from? That's another question. Their meat was kind of like a chunk of rock with meat on it. I thought he was like eating his dead people that died. The 22 aliens that died. I thought he was like cannibalizing them at first, but it never really explained like where his meat comes from, or his food, or whatever. And also explained when he eats, it's so gross. It's like an embarrassing thing. You don't want to like eat in front of somebody. But then the human's like, no, I want to see it for science. He's like, oh, well, okay. And he's just like, bleh. He lays on his back and he's got like one hole. Like a frog has a cloaca that they piss and shit and fucking everything out of one hole. He like vomits out this kind of like blob of like whatever the last thing he ate was. Then he takes the meat and he like strips it all down and puts little pieces of like little threads of meat into his meat hole. He just kind of blah blah blah. And he's just like. Then he starts talking like he's drunk, kind of, because he's so full of food. He's like, I'm going to sleep now. Will you watch me, please? He just conks out. It's so crazy. So then, yeah, like, how would you fly into space with no radio or internet communication? They didn't evolve any of that. I mean, maybe they did have radio communication because they had an antenna, and the sound is like their main sensory thing. Like, I wonder if aliens have, like, science fiction concepts. So, like, do they have writers that write books? Do they, like, try to predict the future, like, what kind of technology they may have in the future like we do? Do they have music or sports? Like, what's an alien sports? Like, I'm also reading The Culture right now, considered Phoebus #1. And they have, like, a planet that's dying and everybody goes there as kind of like a thrill-seeking thing to, like, they play a version of poker, some kind of like card game where they like sacrifice people. If you lose money, you like to kill a guy. That's crazy too. Yeah, it's like all these different concepts I want to ask aliens about. Need to meet one. But yeah, having a society that totally like works together seems pretty efficient. I don't know. That's pretty much it. Yeah, I pretty much ruined the whole ending. Spoiled everything. Is there anything else cool? I mean, that's pretty much the whole book. Yeah, I'm gonna take care of everything.